Okay.
National Congress is eventually taking place at Gallagher Estate in Midrand. Delegates at the gathering finally adopted the credentials after almost 10 hours of intense debate. Now that Congress is convened under the theme Building Unity and Cohesion. This is a result of tensions and disputes that have bedeviled the Federation movement in recent years. Officials addressing the event emphasized the importance of unity within Cosatu to defend the interests of the working class. Well, for more on Cosatu's special Congress, our SABC contributing editor, that's Vuyo Mvoko, continues with Question Time live from Midrand.
Well, a very good afternoon and welcome to this afternoon's edition of Question Time. My name is Vuyo Mvoko, standing in for Mpho Tsedu. Well, this evening at the end, an hour after Cosatu's much-awaited special Congress ended, we speak to Cosatu President Stumo Dlamini. Mr. Dlamini, thank you very much for joining us and welcome indeed. Let me start by asking you something someone told me this morning, someone very close to you, that yesterday when the voting was done by a show of hands and you prevailed, or those who think like you actually prevailed, you broke down and cried.
Thank you very much, Vuyo. There was a turning point of where we are as an organization and where we have been when those Congress delegates were flashing their texts just as an image of butterflies just thrown into a biggest hole and still filling up the whole hole. And it says those Cosatu workers, those delegates, were indeed united in taking a decision, dispelling any previous myth that Cosatu was so divided that it can't agree on a thing. And even those who had participated in the vote and would have lost didn't show disdain, much as the voting process for them was a painful thing. But they stood in the conference and said, we're here to build our Cosatu. Even if we came with a different view, we are now agreed. It's a decision of the Congress. A very, very touching moment. Indeed, that one was correct. That's what happened, purely because we have anchored and put at the center the importance of the unity of the Federation. Because we have declared before, it is not for sale. It is sacrosanct. Everybody had said this Congress should be the platform where all what was happening, the beginning of it coming to an end, was this Congress. And I think at that moment that this Congress was sealed, it was clear where it is going.
How many times have you cried before?
Well, yeah, not many times do I cry, I'm sure.
Was it not then more because you felt that so much was on your shoulders, and the future of this federation, with all its glorious history, was almost entirely hung on that moment? In other words, that decision was perhaps the most important decision, certainly for you at the helm of this organization.
Absolutely.
Was that the reason?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And thinking about all those who have been encouraging us to keep hanging in there, to hold on, and indeed it could be made or be broken at that point. If you lost that first vote on the credentials, this Congress would have been shattered, and indeed Cosatu would have been a sad story today. And when that was avoided, I was happy indeed.
But that, I suppose, was a case of vindication on your part. Now, the decision to not put Vavi and NUMSA on the agenda refuses to go away. I mean, you would have seen social media today and yesterday, everything that has been written. With the benefit of hindsight, and given the fact that you actually won at the end of the day, with the benefit of hindsight, should you not have put that item on the agenda?
Look, Vuyo,
because if you knew what you know now, wouldn't you have put it on the agenda?
No, we would have not done so. Even if we knew that we are going to have the numbers that are required to make any decision we want to take, and it goes easily. The reason we're not going to do that, we must observe the Constitution of the Federation. It says those issues are supposed to be heard by the Ordinary Congress of the Federation. And we needed to observe that, having learned lessons before, but also because we're saying let us observe the founding principles of these organizations. And one of those is to respect the Constitution. And we indeed, we were not going to have it otherwise than the way we had it.
So this issue, the issue of Vavi's expulsion and NUMSA's expulsion, is expected to come before the ordinary conference in, is it November?
Yes.
Now, do you expect a different outcome?
Look, Vuyo, the president of the Federation, leading within the collective, and wouldn't want to create doubt to the processes of that Congress. I've just told you that we're observing the Constitution. The risk, and I was advising those comrades who were pushing so hard, knowing very well it was unconstitutional. I said the risk is that you can push this issue and force the Special Congress to deal with it and close it. Then you have lost the opportunity for the Ordinary Congress to deal with it. Do not then come back and say this matter must be dealt at that Congress when we have forced it on a wrong platform. So I'm happy that we didn't get excited by the numbers and said let's then finish everything and finish everybody, because it's not about finishing people. It's about allowing members to appreciate the depth of the damage, so that when a decision is finally taken, it is with the support of the membership of the organization.
Well, I mean, what do you then say to someone who says, but by accepting Limusa, you've already closed the door on NUMSA even before a final decision has been taken on its status?
I would disagree. Accepting a union in the Federation, Limusa in particular, was well considered and after we had taken a decision. And we have clarified the point. It does not mean that the matter of NUMSA shall never be debated in the Federation. It is set for that Congress, so that dispels that view as incorrect.
But then, let's say ordinary members vote to return NUMSA to Cosatu's fold come November. You are going to make it extremely difficult, if not impossible, for NUMSA to be able to sit alongside Limusa and try and negotiate some kind of a merger or working together, because you have to stick to your principle of one industry, one union, isn't it?
Look, we're doing that. In the discussion here, we have emphasized the issues of mergers so that we build the unity of Cosatu and to be able to create these super unions we're talking about. It's a Congress resolution which we have not been able to implement. Should NUMSA change its ways, or should the ordinary members at the Congress in November say, in spite of the wrongs NUMSA have done on everybody that was not happy, let's return them, we'll then put mechanisms for that to happen, because it is provided in the Constitution.
So even with the benefit of hindsight, you do not think that you may have erred by actually allowing Limusa to, come to be, to accept them in the first instance, and for them to be represented here, and you accepting their credentials?
Congress has indeed affirmed our decision, and who am I to can say we would have erred when Congress delegates here said it was correct to accept Limusa as the affiliate of Cosatu. Unfortunately, that matter had to be cleared by a vote, and whoever may want to raise it again has no opportunity to raise it, even at the coming Congress, because comrades have then allowed it to be an issue in the special Congress. Delegates here said, this is a decision of the CEC, constitutionally taken, we're moving on.
Well, the CEC and all the sort of like-minded affiliates, won in the end. Does that mean that you will not at all see a need to perhaps reach out to those who, yes, you've admitted, but in the interest of Cosatu, will you even consider such a move?
Look, the message even we're extending here, even to those affiliates who there was no agreement with the other affiliates, said extend a hand to the other.
But how far is that hand going to go? In other words, are you going to proactively say, listen, guys, we know that we had our differences, but here's one or two concessions just to prove that, there's no bad blood? Look,
within Cosatu, we already have started reaching out to all those unions. Ourselves as national leadership, we've begun to do exactly that. We're speaking to all the leaders of the unions to unite Cosatu. The NUMSA matter is a different matter. We cannot, Vuyo, be the ones that should take the responsibility to go and call NUMSA wherever they are without NUMSA taking the first step. NUMSA is not doing that. NUMSA, whilst you are busy here building Cosatu, are planning something else. They still call Cosatu unions here. The 9 progressive unions of Cosatu will issue a statement with NUMSA against this conference. It's not right. So they are busy doing that. Should we then be following them and say, comrades, please don't do that? No, no, no. These are the ones who are really working against the Cosatu, and Cosatu must focus on building itself.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because a statement which you did allude to in your closing remarks as well, a statement was issued today, and I did ask some of the union secretaries whether they identified themselves with that statement. Katish Masemola is one of those who said yes, they do identify with that statement because they felt hard done by yesterday, and they are going to meet today and actually discuss what to do next, which then suggests that what this Congress probably did was to paper over the cracks.
There was a delegate here from Sama, the doctor said, you listen to her, in a reaction by a human being, you first come to a state of a shock where you deny that you are sick. First you are angry, then you deny, and you come to a stage of accepting that you are sick. And she said this time Cosatu has accepted that they are sick. I would allude that analogy to those comrades who say, no, we feel hard done, and therefore we support the statement of the 9. When Congress have said that's a non-starter, it's not a Cosatu thing, it's actually what is supposed to be condemned absolutely. So I would understand the comrade, but we have taken a decision to say, let's reach out. Katishi will be the first one who said to you before, when democratic decisions are taken by this Congress, he will be the first one to admit and abide by those. And I expect that from Katishi.
Well, he did say that. I asked him, I said, look, you had an opportunity after the declaration was read to raise whatever issue you may have wanted to raise, and you didn't. He said he just felt there was no point.
Look, I expect him to live true to his words, that democratic processes have happened here, and he himself and the organization he leads as the General Secretary will abide by those democratically taken decisions which they participated and come back to work within Cosatu. We have a lot of work. We're short of people to do the work. He must fill that space.
Slamin, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back. This conversation continues right after this.
Welcome to Network, a technology news program that also discusses what's trending in social media in and around Africa. MTN has launched its new movie and television streaming service, Front Row. If it's trending, we will find it. That's Network with me, Spumelele Zondi, every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. only on the SABC News Channel.
Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching today's edition of Question Time. My name is Vuyo Mvogo, standing in for Mpotse. We're in conversation with Cosatu President Stu Modlamini, followed at the end of Cosatu's two-day special National Congress that took place here at Gallagher Estate in Midrand, Johannesburg. Mr. President, some women delegates pulled no punches this afternoon, deploring what they believe is continued patriarchy within Cosatu.
They put the point across very, very clearly. I must admit that I had to look down and not being able to look those two comrades in their face, because I know for a fact that this matter has arisen in the CEC as a result of the matter that involved our former General Secretary. And we were put on the spot to respond on that matter. Did we come? No, we failed. So they were very much spot on, and I'm happy that this Congress has taken a clear resolution on us to resuscitate our gender structure and our gender campaign, so that workers of Cosatu and Cosatu unions will feel that they are safe in their workplaces within our unions, so that what happened that time shall not be used as a black spot against the Federation. I can't falter them. I know for a fact that the issue they were raising is very, very critical.
Well, another issue that was raised right at the end that Congress felt needed to be captured was your international solidarity role, and Swaziland was particularly mentioned, given the announcement that was made. Well, Pirates and Kaizer Chiefs are going to play in Swaziland, and there have been calls, certainly by the Players' Union, that every effort should be made to stop that from happening. Your position, or is that the official position of Cosatu?
Look, we must admit that we really didn't do our bit very well on that matter until it became so open. And very, very late, we began to engage with the leadership of the two clubs here in South Africa, Ubabu Khoza, Ubabu Mtaung, to see how we could manage that issue. We were the first one to appreciate that delay in dealing with that issue has compromised our campaign, but it has also compromised the best possible way we could deal with this matter. and that going forward we really must do that, because that game in Swaziland for us is a spit in the face of the struggles of the people there. It is made to coincide with the birthday of the king, so that he celebrates his birthday under the guise of celebrating the Mandela Day. We deplore that, because it is lying to the people of Swaziland that they are celebrating Mandela, yet the issue here is the king celebrating his birthday that time. We must do better next time. We take the point the leadership of those clubs have made, that you guys came up too late and you should have been highlighting this matter so that we didn't make decisions in a way that now seeks to undermine the campaign on Swaziland.
Well, another episode perhaps to demonstrate that Cosatu has been so caught up in what has been happening over the past couple of years,
Sure.
that you've neglected the core business, your core campaigns, shop floor issues, and generally the welfare of workers.
Yes, that's the criticism that we have been the first ones to admit to. But we didn't just admit to that criticism only. We began to work to deal with that criticism. And today was yet another culmination of that point, to reassert Cosatu on its path to deal with the issues affecting workers. And indeed, I think we are doing quite well on that score.
Well, another area that you didn't cover yourselves in glory on was the episode. Yes, I'm not saying it's this, perhaps I'm saying it selfishly because I belong, I'm part of the media, but it's a tradition that proved that Cosatu was one of those open and democratic organizations, and there we were excluded. Do you have any regrets?
Today you were given the full platform of the Congress. We did that yesterday because we, and if you feel hard done as the media on that one, would understand. But we also were dealing with issues where we didn't want excitement by the media presence to detract us from confronting the issues we are dealing with. And we are satisfied looking back that indeed we are correct in our position to keep that one a closed session until we can resolve those issues. And we succeeded because sometimes you people then excite other people who are not part of the meeting, and it disturbs our meeting. So if you feel hard done, we are sorry, but I think you would understand our position.
Well, I'll take one for the boys and girls. Just in the few minutes left, a few questions from our viewers. Could Mr. Stumo perhaps articulate whether Cosatu is still a movement for workers' rights or a representative for the Tripartite Alliance, given that the Tripartite Alliance has the greatest sphere of influence in Cosatu? This is from Zweli Ngqongqosa.
Yes, Zweli. Cosatu, even by the points raised from our today's Special National Congress, is a workers' issue here in South Africa. Workers organized under Cosatu should feel confident that they still have that voice in South Africa. That was asserted yesterday. We are in the alliance with the ANC, the leader of society. We carry more responsibility sometimes than other people who would say if this whole thing about democracy collapses, they may want to collect the spoils. We don't have that responsibility.
Okay, Mutlalepula Mufukeng says, if Cosatu's constitution has been suspended indefinitely, are now constitutional matters going to be settled by voting?
Voting is a constitutional matter. We have not been using this clause of the Constitution for the past 27 years of Cosatu. We learned the hard way in 2013 when we would have taken a decision to suspend the former General Secretary and did not vote, and he took us to court for that, and the court said Cosatu were wrong. So we're not going to compromise the Constitution.
Very last, very, very briefly in seconds. Vavi and NUMSA are a cancer to this organization, and the alliance permanently closed the door to them. So says Lucanio Memela.
Well, I think the onus is on those comrades to really look unto themselves. We will not preoccupy ourselves about closing the door. We'll build Cosatu moving forward.
Simon, thank you very much.
I thank you very much.
Mr. Stumudlamini, the president of Cosatu, speaking to us at the end, following the conclusion about an hour ago or so of Cosatu's Special National Congress. Well, marks the end of today's question time. Thanks very much for joining us.
Welcome to Business Review. What a week it has been. The rand has hit a 6.5-year low against the dollar. It's weakened to 11.88 to the dollar. It was trading above 11.70 in December, but it hasn't been at the levels we're seeing today since October 2008.
How do we ensure that we negotiate good contracts so that, money is not flown out of the country?
If we think the rand is low, the Nigerian currency hit 204 to the dollar today, an all-time low. From July this year, the Zimbabwean dollar will cease to exist.
One of the major serious problems is policy uncertainty in Zimbabwe, and the monetary policy can only be a victim of such an environment.
That's Business News, weekdays at 6 p.m. on SABC News.
From humble beginnings, this selfless icon altered the history of the world, freed a country, and united a nation. He taught us humility and forgiveness. To the world, he is Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela. But to us, he is simply Tata Madiba.
Nelson Mandela keeping a watch over a myriad of statues, from generals and presidents to literary figures and humanitarianists. More recently, those who fought for freedom.
So there is no need to destroy. If at the end of the day the statue has to be removed from where it is, it would be removed.
President Jacob Zuma and his counterparts will witness the signing of a number of bilateral trade and investment agreements.
Campaigns to eradicate racial discrimination and hostility succeeded. The nation now rallies behind President Paul Kagame.
Catch all news locally and internationally. Tune into SABC, your #1 news channel, news at 8 from Monday to Sunday.
Sparks fly over Verwoerd. Let's now have a look at this. Now, Verwoerd, the comment yesterday in Njanji, Mr. Sparks lived up to his name and caused quite a few sparks.
It was quite shocking for me to hear him compare H.F. Verwoerd to Helen Zille in terms of her orator skills.
Mugabe to compensate white farmers for land grab.
I don't know if I'm justified to call it truth and reconciliation Mugabe style.
Watch Media Monitor with me, Alicia Jali, Sundays at 9 a.m.